right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Forgotten Firsts. This is the video series that I do where I talk about those first appearances of characters that people just aren't thinking about or really talking about these days. Just those things you might have just forgotten about or overlooked or you didn't know in the first place. I don't know. It's just things that are just not on most people's radars, and I just don't know, felt like now's the time to talk about it because no one else is. So these are those kind of forgotten characters, those ignored first appearances that you might still be able to find for a decent price out there. So that's what we're going to cover here. I got 3 more for you this week, and hopefully you enjoy them. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, hit the alert button, keep telling your friends. Let's keep growing the channel, and just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be back with this week's 3 Forgotten Firsts. Okay, so as I noted in the open there, I got 3 new characters for you to talk about this week, and just, their first appearances that we can still go out there finding if we go looking. Now, first character is a character I think has some potential to possibly show up somewhere down the line in the MCU. I mean, we haven't seen the Red Skull in quite some time, apart from that kind of ghostly guardian type character in Endgame, but I doubt he's coming back to the MCU proper. Maybe, but without Steve Rogers, I just don't see it happening. But that isn't to say we won't see his daughter Sin possibly show up in, a future Captain America series, movie, a Bucky thing, U.S. agent kind of show. Like, she's a character that kind of still fits in that universe that we can see ties back to and can still be introduced. And her first appearance was way back in February 1984 in Captain America number 290. And granted, she was not called Sin at that time. She was, I believe, going by the name of Mother Night. But it's still an interesting book, and it is her first. So even though her character kind of changes her entire look more into the character we know today, this is where she first appeared back in the 80s. Now, this is the character I'm talking about. This is the Sin that I know. And, Crossbones was kind of like her personal bodyguard. This was during the Brubaker run, which is a fantastic read. And if you don't have or haven't read that series, I suggest picking it up. It's just a great run. And she factors into it for a good portion of it as well. And she's just a pretty cool character. And I also know that at some point she loses her face and becomes a skull as well. But I don't think they need to do that. I think they could just go with her with this look, and we can see Sin in something. Yeah, because again, like I said, that Brubaker run, here's a cover that she was on, 28, where I got that one image, and with ties to Hydra and Red Skull, there's a lot of possibilities for her to work her way into the MCU as a pretty decent villain that won't be too fantastical and has a good enough connectivity to the past that I think a lot of viewers would buy in and be interested in personally. So that's why I think she's a character we might see at some point. I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't mind it if she showed up and they did a Falcon and Winter Soldier type sequel following Sam and Bucky in some way, and she plays into it. I would be into that personally. But as I said, her first appearance, though, was as this Mother Night character back in issue 290. Again, I know it's a little different. It's not the exact character we might see in a series. Like, we're probably not going to get this kind of vibe and this kind of look with the cloaks and the bald cap kind of thing. But hey, this is where she first appeared. So this is the book that features her first, if you are out there looking, as this Mother Superior type character. But what does this thing actually do if you're out there shopping for it? Well, if you're out there, this book, it was pricey for a little while, but right now, $12 to look. There's a best offer going up to $47, but I still think it's $30 max. But a lot of copies, as you can see here, $12. It's not that pricey for first, so it's something you might find out there in a box, a cheap box. I'm not saying dollar. You might find it at a dollar bin. There's plenty of Cap books in dollar bins, and a lot of them have been picked clean of like the first U.S. agents and all that. But keep an eye out for this one. This white and black and white cover for the most part. It's going to be tough to find in a high grade due to that. But I don't know. I'd still say look, and it might be just tucked away in back issue bins just for a couple of bucks, and it might be worth picking up. That's all I'm saying. It may end up being nothing, but it's still something I just think is worth paying attention to and noting. All right, so for our next book, this is a character that I don't know. I just have a feeling it's something I could see Disney using. And this is my man Herbie. Fantastic Four, number 209, way back in August 1979. This was the first appearance of Herbie. It's like human something robot. I forget what Herbie stands for. But he's a little droid. He's a little robot. Before Wally, before Johnny Five, before most of these robots that we know these days, there was Herbie. And Herbie is kind of an interesting character because they introduced him as part of Fantastic Four because they didn't have the rights to the Human Torch at that time when they decided to do an animated series for the Fantastic Four. So Herbie filled in for Johnny Storm because I believe Marvel at the time lent out the rights, or they sold the rights to somebody to make a movie that never happened. But yeah, so Herbie was given to us thanks to that deal. Like I said, it's just one of those characters. He has a cult following. A lot of people remember him fondly. So him having a nod, a little wink and a nod of this little robot showing up just would make a whole lot of sense, especially in the MCU. Once we finally get, the Fantastic Four in the MCU, which we know is going to happen sooner rather than later. And like I said, I got to imagine we'll be seeing Herbie because they can sell things like pops and toys based off of Herbie. He is merchandising. He is something that they could sell in regards to a Fantastic Four, feature or whatever they're going to do. So, got to imagine Herbie's going to be showing up at some point. So, don't forget about his little first appearance there in Fantastic Four number 209. And this book is not expensive. You can still find this for cheap. Look, one sold for $2, $9. Best offer on about $22. So, looks like $20 and under is kind of what I try to shoot for in most. I'll kind of inch up a little higher in the like $30 to $40 range, depending on the book, if it's like at a deep discount. But for the most part, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I look at these forgotten firsts, because there's plenty of other characters we can talk about, but I'm just going to look for people and characters that fit into this little range here. So this is a book that you can probably still find for cheap if you're out there digging, and just keep an eye out for it, because like I said, Herbie's probably going to show up, and then everybody will want Herbie. So letting you know, keep an eye out for him. Moving on, I got one more character that I think is interesting that I haven't heard a lot of talk about him. I know people have probably talked about him before. I'm not saying I'm breaking new ground in talking about any of these characters. These are just things that, like I said, they're on my mind at the moment, and I felt like I'd share it with you guys. And this is going over to the DC universe. Keep forgetting about them, but Batman, Detective Comics 742, back in January 2000, we got the first appearance of Detective Crispus Allen. Now, he is an interesting character because they can go a lot of different ways with him. And I feel like we might see him show up in this DC extended universe in some way. He already has shown up before in some of the other features and shows that I think some shows they've had, but he's just a character I think that has he's got a lot of play because he was actually two characters. He not only was a Gotham detective, he also was the Spectre. But when he first showed up in this issue of Detective 742, you can see, I think he was Detective Montoya's partner. So we can see this and see his character show up in possibly this Gotham PD show that they're doing for HBO Max following the Jeffrey Wright Commissioner Gordon after the Robert Pattinson Batman movie comes out next year. So they might have cast somebody. This is somebody we might see very, very soon on a show. We already saw him in Gotham, the Fox show Gotham. They had a character of him there, and I think he's shown up in other things. They might even have been edited out of the Justice League movie with J.K. Simmons, Commissioner Gordon. I think he was there too. I don't know if he was made at the regular movie or if he was he hit the cutting room floor, but I know they had an actor playing him in the Snyderverse already. So like I said, this is a character that's already seen some play in these universes and these features. I can see him showing up, especially in a show that's going to focus in on the Gotham PD. There's only so many detectives that a lot of people know, with Montoya and Harvey Bullock, and Crispus Allen is going to be one I think that might have a lot of potential there to have a larger role. But like I said and mentioned just earlier, and outside of that, I know he ends up passing away. He gets killed, but he takes on the character of the Spectre. And we also know we are getting Dr. Fate in in the Black Adam movie. So we could be getting JSA stuff. We could be getting things like the Spectre. We could be getting more supernatural things. We know we're getting like a Constantine show coming as well. We might get some more Dark Universe stuff. Maybe the Spectre gets tied in. And yeah, I don't know. Just a couple of opportunities here with this character for things that we might see. And mentioning his death, I mean, it's not a first, but he ends up getting killed, as you can see here in this Gotham Central 38. So while Detective 742 is his first appearance, this is technically the issue where he dies, as you can see. And then it isn't until Infinite Crisis number 4 where we see he's resurrected by the spirit of the Spectre and becomes the Spectre for the DC universe going forward. After following is it Jim Corrigan? I think it was the other bearer of the Spectre before then. But 742 is still his first, so that's the one I think a lot of people will flock to if we see him and we see him in any larger role in the the DC universe, whether it be comics. But I'm thinking more about the movies and shows because he's been in the comics for a while and it hasn't garnered much momentum for him as a character. But hey, who knows? Who knows what the next writer of Batman might want to do? But this is a book that's, again, not very expensive. This is definitely something you can find at a dollar bin. You can see here, even if you go shopping, $3.50 to $6.75 is like all we're talking about here. This is the cheap, very cheap book. Not a huge investment if you just want to take a flyer on it, but just something to keep an eye out for. And that's the whole point of what I want to talk about with this series. I want some cheap first appearances that you can go out there, find, and who knows? Maybe it turns into something, maybe it turns into nothing. But the point is, it's just a couple of dollars. They're just comics. This should be fun. Let's all have fun. And I don't know. I love talking comics. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. That being said, that's all I got for you this week. Those are my 3 books. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Make sure you check out the live shows on Wednesday with me and Marco, as well as the Star Wars show on Sunday. And again, I try to have content dropping at least once a day. So hopefully it's not too much, and hopefully you like that. And I'm mixing things up. And I might be seeing which shows you guys like best and which shows you might want to see to kind of figure out the format. How I should be spending my time to give you guys content that you want to see. So that's why I do appreciate the feedback with the comments and the polls that I put out there. So that being said, I'll see you guys soon.